Okay, thank you, sir. Go ahead and call the February 27, 2024 meeting of the Lehigh Northampton Airport Authority Board of Governors to order. First item on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. If I could ask everyone to please rise. I pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next is roll call. So that, can you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Paul Anthony, Ann Baum, Robert Brooks, Frank Fasciano,
Here.
Don Godshaw, Justin Grimshaw,
Here.
John Hayes,
Here.
Ron Heckman, Larry Hemberger,
Here.
James Irwin, Jeff Matskin, Glenn Reedman,
Present.
Mike Stershik,
Here.
John Strauss,
Here.
Chris Worley.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you, Sylvette. Next is public comment. Do we have any public comment?
We do not, sir.
Thank you. Okay, into the reports of committees, officers, and staff. Justin, you're up first with the treasurer's report.
Forgot the minutes.
Oh, I guess we should do that. Okay. Moving back in the agenda, approval of the minutes of the January 30, 2024 meeting. They were circulated on Novus Agenda. A motion from Glenn, second by Mike. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor of the subject motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we're into committee reports. Justin.
I'll hand the treasurer's report over to Todd. Acceptance of the 2024 financial January.
I started with a pretty picture there. Good afternoon, everyone. We're already in January. January financials, almost on February here. Just wanted to give an update. We talked about this a little bit last week, but just wanted to give an update because it's slightly larger than we've seen in the past, just to kind of let everyone know where we are on our 2023 final numbers. Last month, we had a net income of about a little over $6 million, which was pretty good in comparison to budget. But we have some adjustments that we've made since then. The one that's above the line is the additional demo that we didn't have in our original financials that we presented last month, and that was for the escalators and elevators, removing those over in the terminal. We did have a grant reimbursable agreement where we had to return some funds, and then some asset retirements, some of that associated with the connector. So all told, it's about 1.1. The only one that really kind of impacts cash is probably the first one there, because that's kind of above the line. The other ones, we've already kind of made the adjustment on our grants. They reduced one of our next grants to kind of take out the fact that we had too much. But just kind of letting everybody know where we are. Still way ahead of where we were, where we budgeted, but just wanted to give the board an update.
It's unusual for us to have adjusting entries.
We always have adjustment entries at the end of the year, but not of this size. That's why I'm pointing out. The only one that's left that's really we haven't finalized is really the pension one. And we just got that last week, and that's actually going to probably cost us a little bit of money because of some of the changes in our assumptions. But overall, again, when you talk about operating, we did fine. Some of these are really below the line.
Actually, if you could stand there for 1 second. Is there anything we should do differently so that we don't have these large adjusting entries? Is there anything you picked up operationally that would?
This is truly unusual. These were, like I said, the demo one was just one that just came in late and it just wasn't caught in the initial stuff. And normally we don't have that kind of big invoices, and most of the time we catch them. The grant reimbursable, that's extremely unusual.
That's unusual. The reimbursable agreement is something we enter into on only very specific projects, and this is with the FAA, when the FAA has to pay the FAA. The reimbursable agreement is when we're doing work for the runway project on navigational aids. So because those are FAA owned, the FAA uses AIP money to pay the FAA to do that work. And they give us an estimate of what that reimbursable agreement is going to be, and then they spend down on that agreement. In this case, they spent a lot less than they anticipated they would spend.
So we had to give it back.
So we had to,
And the asset retirements are really just trying to true up, and some of that associated with the connector. Just, we talked about some of the elevators and escalators and those things. And the best time to do it is obviously when we have a favorable position, not when it's going.
That's also true.
Traffic, we had a good month of January. It wasn't quite as much as we budgeted, but still a good month. Best January since 2004. I think we said that last year. in 2023, that was the best since 2004. So 2004 is still our best number in 20-plus years. But overall, traffic was up. You can see what's happening as far as the recovery. You're starting to see it on our side, where we're catching up with all the U.S. airports. If you remember last year, most of the time that number was we were below on throughput and on seats. Now it's kind of flipped that way. And some of that's just because, our traffic patterns have changed a little bit, and we're getting traffic more year-round than we used to. Right, Connie?
That's correct.
I don't want you to sleep back there. You can see where we are compared to our peers. Again, doing. And then you can see, despite the challenges we had with snow, I said something to Mike last week. We used to have our $300,000 for the whole year. We spent $300,000 in January, which was pretty significant, like 60% for our entire year's budget, and over 200% of what we had budgeted for January. But the ebbs and flows of how the snow comes, really can't really figure that out to the end of the year. But all told, and a lot, again, I'm going to shout out to Connie back there, and the icing queen that she is, helped us out a lot to kind of offset some of our expenses. So we actually got revenue. Revenue's a good thing, right? So we ended the month on a positive note. Some of that's timing, but we budgeted a much more of a negative number. But again, we started off the year much better than what we had budgeted, so that's a good way to start. This one here, we don't normally put this in our budget, in our board stuff. We usually talk about this a little bit more in committee, but you can see that personnel number never has been really read. But just because of the snow and all the costs associated, it was actually higher than what we had budgeted. You can also see on the non-personnel, even though it's down versus budget, it's still up significantly. Again, a lot of that due to the snow, and some of that's timing as well. But it's 1 month, and if you're going to start off the year with 1 month, you start on a positive note and put it in the bank and move forward. Here we are on our cash. Again, we're showing it out for 12 months there. You can see we're doing where we think we should be as far as cash. We're doing quite well there. And that's it. Any questions?
Any questions for Todd? Okay, good report, thank you. I'll entertain a motion to accept the finance report. So moved. Motion by Mike, second by Frank. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the subject motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Justin, anything else for the Finance Committee, Treasurer's report?
No.
Okay. Next, we have the Business Committee, which I believe we are deferring to exec session.
Correct.
Okay, so we'll talk about that when we get to exec session. In terms of the Executive Committee, just a couple things to cover today. First is approval of the Florio Perucci invoices. Ordinarily, they go to the Finance, or the Exec Committee, which was last week. That didn't happen because of technical difficulties, so we're taking care of that at the board today. They were posted into Nova's agenda, and I'd entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Glenn, second by Frank. Any discussion on those invoices? Hearing none, all those in favor of the subject motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is nominating committee chair selection. Happy to report that, again, Larry Hamburger has agreed to serve as the nominating committee chair. I think, Larry, this is the 5th year?
I think it's 1 too many. Conversation. I'm happy to do it.
Okay, sounds good. We appreciate your doing it. Thank you. So can you walk through for us procedurally where we go from here with you as chair?
I'm not prepared to do that, knowing the answer to that, but we'll have to go back and I'll check the exact dates, but we'll nominate, and I think it's May.
Yep. I think you're right. Yep, nominations in April, voting in May. Yep, so if anyone has any interest in serving in any of the officer seats or the county rep seats, please let Larry know of your interest. There would be the ability to nominate from the floor as well at the April meeting, so we have that also.
Several people have already come forward. So.
Okay, yep.
Well, you have the thing too, if you were at the same position for 2 years, you can't be in that position, right?
Correct.
And our bylaws read that, I believe.
Yep.
Somebody needs to take the business, I'm just throwing that out there.
Yep, I mean, I'm out. I've had 2 years.
Just like to throw that out there, anybody? Do we have that first for the other one? We'll talk.
That's important to keep those rotations in place. And-
Right.
And I'm glad we have that memorialized.
I just remember reading, that's the only thing I remember.
Okay, anything else for the nominating committee? Did I cover everything, Tom?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, next is the director's report. Tom?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, Todd reported a good month of January for passenger traffic. Again, since 2004, that's 24% growth over just 2019. So you can see how all the seasonality is starting to flatten out a little bit. In terms of national month-to-date checkpoint throughput for February, nationally we're up about 5.2% over last February. Here in ABE, however, we're up 6%, so a little bit higher than the national average. Again, our seats for February are up about 6.6%. So it's good to see, again, continued increase in seats as Todd walked through in some of the January numbers carrying into February, certainly. For March, what we're seeing in the schedule right now, our seats are scheduled to be up about 8.44%. So again, continuing to climb. So good to see all of those numbers growing. Since our last board meeting back on January 30th, on February 15th, we were joined by the Allentown, Bethlehem, and Easton public libraries. And they came to the airport to help unveil yet another bookshelf for our ABE Book Exchange. It's been super popular. Colin, what's our count on books now that we're up to?
We're over thousands of books have gone through all the
Yeah,
meetings.
so it's-
So people are reading when they're traveling, which is always nice to see. It's very, very popular.
Take a book, leave a book, right? So it's been really popular.
And then looking for book donations, Colin?
Yeah, I mean, we'll take them. I mean, the libraries have done a really good job, and if people do have books,
Okay.
from, internally from the board or from any, employee, yeah, we would take them and look at them, yeah.
Okay.
Great, thank you. On February 20th, Senator Casey and Congressman Wild were here for a press conference to announce the $40 million infra grant for cargo development. On February 21st, we hosted Girl Scout Troop 8747, 747, kind of neat, from Bethlehem. They did a tour of the facility. We also had one of our pilots from Allegiant with them and talking a little bit about Amelia Earhart. They're working on a patch about aviation, so it's kind of fun to get them to the airport and earn a little credit for their patch, so it's kind of neat. February 20th through the 22nd, Darren was at the Airport Roundtable conference down in Savannah for Air Service Development, so I think that was a good conference. Always good to see the air carriers there. On the 25th, AAA Lehigh Valley Vacation Expo took place at Wind Creek. Ourselves, as well as TSA and Allegiant staff, were there to do a presentation. Got a lot of good attendance at that. And today, we're over at Liberty High School for their career fair. So in terms of upcoming events, let's see. March 6th, we do have the Fear of Flying seminar. Only 2 spots remaining, so if you're interested or you know someone that's interested to sign up for that, 6 to 8:30 p.m. on March 6th. March 13th, Freedom High School Career Fair, so we're making our way through Bethlehem Area School District. March 15th, we'll be over at Parkland School District for the Springhouse Middle School STEAM Expo, so we're looking to get over there. March 19th through the 22nd, staff will be at the ACI EEE Customer Experience Symposium in Denver. So nice little connection that we have to get out there these days. Yeah. April 22nd through the 26th, TSA PreCheck Open Enrollment is our next one. We'll have more details on that one. That will be the RV that comes for that, but we'll have another PreCheck Open Enrollment the 22nd through the 26th of April. And April 27th is our triennial full-scale emergency exercise. We do that every 3 years. All the mutual aid companies come.
It's been 3 years already.
It has been. Yeah. That's what a pandemic will do to you.
Yeah, true.
So, so we're working towards that event on the 27th, Steve. And we continue to watch the FAA reauthorization extension and TSA extension as it relates to continuing operations. Again, really no impact on the government shutdown for us. If that were to occur, air traffic, all of those functions continue to stay in place, but we could start to see impacts as people would not be working and getting paid to work. position, so. So that's really the end of my report, Mr. Chair. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Any questions for Tom? Larry?
I don't have a question, I just had a comment. I had a chance to go over to the AAA Travel Expo over
Yes.
the weekend, and we were well represented.
Yeah.
The place was packed, but Paul and her crew were out there, and people were clamoring to get to the booth there.
Yeah.
It might have been just to get pens, but
You know, they were dying for us to get the hell out of the room Saturday night, so they had to flip it for the expo the next day.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, thanks, Larry, appreciate it, yeah.
Any other questions? Just one for me. What is the revised date again for the driver's license upgrade?
May of 2025,
Okay, so that's actually closing in.
in a
Is that-
sense.
Is that gonna stay that date, or you think they'll extend it again?
Colin, what's the over-under on that? You have I think,
I have no comment on that. We'll keep you posted.
that's what we know right now.
Yep, okay, fair enough. Okay, thank you, Tom, appreciate it.
Thank you, sure.
Solicitors report, Attorney Marcon?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We're continuing our streak of not a whole lot to report on my end. We will discuss the connector project in exec session, but also we're wrapping up any outstanding Rockefeller items, just general matters, contract reviews, right to know, law requests, fulfilling those responses, and a reminder to complete your financial statements of interest.
You want to drop that date on the statement of financial interest is?
It's May. I'm not exactly sure of the date, but I believe it's like May 1st, okay.
There we go. Okay, so yep, if you haven't already, there are online versions of that form that are out there, and if we get those in, that'd be great. Okay, anything else?
That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any new business before we go into exec session, new or old, to bring before the board? So we have two matters to cover in exec session. We have an update on the real estate connector project, and we have our executive director's report on the employee survey that was performed. So that's personnel matters, so that would be proper for exec session.
Correct.
And the real estate project, also proper for exec session.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. So to entertain a motion to move to executive session. Motion by Mike, second by Jonathan. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the subject motion are now out of executive session. Attorney Marcon, could you outline what we discussed, please?
Yes, sir. The board went into executive session to discuss two matters today, employee personnel matters and also real estate and potential litigation regarding the terminal connection project. During the executive session, no decision-making, deliberations, or voting occurred.
Okay, thank you very much. Does anyone else have anything for the good of the order today? Okay, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. We're good. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time.
March is different.
March committee.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I don't.
You sent those out.